one thing I actually had a topic I want to ask about here. It's only vaguely related to LCS. Obviously, the rest of the podcast is going to be at LEC, and we're going to talk about LEC matchups. But I actually had one that I noticed you referenced on Twitter, Wicked, and I thought from a player perspective it'd be interesting to talk about, which is this whole thing where Perkz tweeted that like he was having like basically problems with the stage lighting in his eyes. It was like too bright, and then as a result, he was wearing a cap to like help like block out some of the lighting, but then I think it was something like Riot was telling me you can't wear a cap basically while you play, and so the reason he was tweeting is he was sort of complaining like, you know, like they haven't fixed the lighting situation at certain maps, right? You had a take on this where like you said kind of two things. Like one was like basically like, you know, that it can wreck your eyes, right, those stage lighting, but then secondly you said that you thought it was just like a misunderstanding. So give me your thoughts on this, Wicked.
So the idea is that obviously it's something that shouldn't be happening, but I don't know how Perkz complained about it, right? So I don't even know if he pushed the issue a lot. If it's just like, oh, the stage lighting annoying me, can you fix it? If that's the only thing that's said, it's not really a big deal that Riot didn't fix it, right? He needs to push hard on that. And he needs to be like, this is actually bothering me a lot. Please fix the lights. And personally, I've never really had any issues in any teams I've ever been on because Riot have always been accommodating. There was even a time where they turned off 2 of the lights for a team because it was annoying for our eyes, right? So they turned off the lights due to height differences and so on. It wasn't annoying for other teams. And that was nice, you know. So Riot seems to be very accommodating. I believe Riot, and they say they would change it, and they think they messed up by not changing it fast enough. And I don't really think there's that big of an issue. Besides, Perkz should probably have pushed harder unless information comes out that he actually did.
I will say, just for clarity, because I think he himself did a follow-up tweet, he said something like that in LEC, kind of like what you're saying. In LEC, he said it never was an issue and they sort of would fix that if you wanted. But so he was implying maybe it was like an LCS difference or something. Do you have any thoughts on this overall, Zabatine? Because the thing is, right, I will say, one thing we should probably set up is, if you're a fan at home, you've never been in that situation. You don't know what those lights are like. You don't know what the stage. So as a result, it's very easy to just have an opinion either way, right? Oh, it's terrible. It's good. Like what would you say on this topic, Zabatine? Because I know it sounds like maybe players are just being petty complaining, but I think it's a legit complaint if it's really an issue you're having.
I mean, Riot vow is players' experience first, right? So like players need to be satisfied. I just feel like on this very specific issue, I know that management has a direct link to like the Riot Games in terms of anything you want to ask, right? Like you can, they have a direct Slack channel when they can ping the Riot. So it's very hard because if there has been if the issue has been addressed by the management of C9 that's very competent, saying okay, we have a player that's complaining about the lights and this thing has been transferred to the production and nothing has been changed, then it's on Riot. If the process hasn't been followed, then I mean it's on C9 and Perkz. I mean, it's a small issue. I just feel like, you know, this is very minor and it can be fixed very easily because as far as I know, I feel like Riot is very, very good at working with teams when you're into the facility. Like I've always been treated like a prince when I was like working with Riot Games.
I actually have a couple of... Yeah, go on.
No, I just want to say that's the exact same experience I have. Like, they treat you extremely well. There's nothing there. And I think this is just a misunderstanding or not brought up properly, or it was a failure from their side. You know, it can happen. And they even apologize for it, so...
I have a couple of takes on this. Like, one is, like, as I alluded to, I think, unfortunately, if you're a fan, you really can't understand how annoying that can be. Like, I also have, like, sensitivity to my eyes. I'm not as bad as LS. I don't have to sit in, like, a fucking dark room all the time getting surgery every 6 months or whatever. I can say it's his friend, so fuck him. No, but, like, it just, basically, if it's been, like, a lot of hours, it definitely fucks with my eyes. I have to use, like, key lights now when I do these shows, for example. So I will say, as someone who used to do the CSGO events where you might be on camera, like, 12 hours in a day, it's not just that you're tired from working. Like, those lights definitely fucking, like, it sort of wears on your eyes if you've been on stage for more than an hour or so, I would say. But the other angle that actually I think a lot of fans wouldn't know, and I can say this from the CSGO world, is, believe it or not, the actual issue might not have had anything to do with the lights. It might have just been the cap issue, believe it or not, because I can tell you an interesting detail, which is in CSGO, it used to be totally allowed on stage setups to wear a hat if you wanted to. Like, a lot of people wore one of those, like, baseball caps, a bit like what Perkz had, except usually, I think he had, like, the one with, like, the sort of circular brim, whereas obviously you'd have more like one of those like 5950 like hip hop style hats would be probably more common, you know, right? But basically in CSGO we actually banned them from stage setups for a lot of tournaments. Like, famously, if you know the player, the Brazilian player Taco, who won 2 majors, he used to wear one all the time. Now I will say he did wear it because he had like pattern balding, you know, and he was starting to go a bit bald on top, so he obviously didn't want to look like he had a little patch on his head, did he? Which is, listen, it's unfortunate, but here's the problem, right? So he was the one who famously complained when they banned the caps, like, oh, why are you doing this? And I think he even tried to to do some mad angle. Like, is it because I'm Brazilian? Like, yeah, we just did all this because we hate Brazilians, mate. That's right. We banned hats on all stages in the whole world because of Brazilian. Like, yeah, get out, get your fucking head out your ass. But anyway, here's the point that guy didn't know, though. It turns out, this is one of the reasons why I bring this up, why it might actually be relevant. It's not as simple as someone saying, oh, well, the light's too bright, so I'm going to wear a hat. Because what we found basically was that most stage setups, I know League of Legends isn't like this as much, but in CSGO, you're trying to generally make it so that there's not too much like sound leak into the person's ear. Like in CSGO stage setups, for example, we use those helicopter headphones, which block most sound, and we pump white noise in, so that in theory, you won't like hear, like, you know, someone shout something in the crowd or whatever. Well, what people didn't know was, if you wear a hat, it can sometimes slightly lift those headphones off your ears a tiny bit and sort of break the seal on your head, as it were. Like, most people will know this, even if you just have like the headphones I'm wearing now, which are like those Bose ones that can do sound cancelling. They're actually even designed just the way they fit around your ear to make like a little bit of a seal almost, even if you don't have the noise cancelling on. So I know it might sound obscure, but believe it or not, actually wearing that hat like that could actually be considered like a mild form of cheating, basically. So I thought I'd just throw that in there for fans who aren't aware. Like, it's way more complicated than people realise. If you've never been in a stage setup, there's reasons why they do things those way. It's okay. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.